Well, former US Ambassador to Australia, Caroline Kennedy, has labelled her cousin, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a predator. She's asking US senators to reject his nomination as Health and Human Services Secretary. She claims RFK Jr.'s dangerous views on vaccination should disqualify him from the role.
He lacks any relevant government, financial, management, or medical experience. His views on vaccines are dangerous and willfully misinformed. These facts alone should be disqualifying. But he has personal qualities related to this job, which for me pose even greater concern. I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator.
Ooh. Joining us live now, Seattle University Professor of American Politics, Patrick Schottner. Patrick, I wouldn't want to be at the next family barbecue.
I wouldn't either, but they've been throwing elbows for a past year or so, so they're probably pretty used to it by now.
Okay, so because does she make family matters public very often? Does Caroline Kennedy?
They don't. Usually the Kennedys are a little bit camera shy, or they try to keep their personal lives private. But ever since Robert announced his candidacy, first for the Democratic nomination, then as an independent, and then finally as a Trump endorser, the Kennedy clan as a whole has been harshly critical of him throughout.
Well, the reason I put that point to you is because there was an interesting comment from David Axelrod today, who posted, "It's noteworthy and significant that Caroline Kennedy, who is famously private about family matters, felt moved to issue this searing indictment of RFK Jr.'s nomination as Health Secretary." That's where that point comes from. So is he right, David Axelrod?
Yeah, I mean, she in particular, has lived her entire life in the spotlight, so she's never one to jump in heedlessly. And other family members did take the point in pushing back on him earlier. But Caroline Kennedy's voice carries a lot of weight, even a lot across the aisle, somewhat, just because of the nostalgia both parties have for the Kennedy clan.
I was going to ask you that. How much influence does she have?
Her influence is obviously stronger on the Democratic side of the party, but older members of the Republican Party would, be respectful as well. Now, this sort of brings in a couple different things. On one hand, the Republicans have been critical of the Me Too movement, and we've seen, like with the Hegseth nomination, that some of these late revelations don't necessarily move the needle. But Kennedy is traditionally a Democrat, and he doesn't have that same sort of inherent goodwill with the other Republican senators that someone like Hegseth had.
Well, I mean, I was also going to make that point too, and we'll close here. I mean, it was a rocky period there for Pete Hegseth, but he finally got the nomination, and here we are. So, do you expect it to be the same for RFK Jr.? Is it going to be a tough battle to official nomination, or will it be smoother?
I think it'll be a tough battle. I mean, Trump did lose Gates as a nominee because the Republicans in the Senate had a personal animosity towards him. I don't know that they necessarily have the same kind of animosity towards Kennedy, but he also doesn't have the same kind of constituency that a former Fox host who had built these relationships with senators are going to have as well. Yeah. So it'll be somewhere between there. So it's a real toss-up, I think.
Does Kennedy get there, do you think?
It's going to depend on a few key people, but mostly I think it'll be driven on whether or not they think some of his pushes are going to hurt their bottom line when it comes to the agricultural states at the end.
All right. We'll see. Patrick, thanks for your time.